You ready? Do you need to bring that down, or can you do it from here? How does that work?
Make sure you keep watching. Yeah, well, it was a bit of both. So,
She realized that it was pull the plug on the tutoring. Okay.
We're going to do a little segment, since this is interesting.
Okay. What do you think? Too loose?
Well, first, not yet. Where's the what do they do with the springs?
Oh, springs.
We only need one. We only need one. That's fine.
I think are those my springs? I think they're under Susan's table.
Yeah, we only need. Okay. Well, you know what?
Wrong place. I got things under my table.
I can't tell you how relieved I am that those aren't going back on the chair.
Oh, you know, you just saved about 15 hours of work.
Well, probably in my case, 35 hours.
Well.
That would be in Kevin time.
So what we have here is an interesting piece. It's a saddle seat, but it had coil springs, which are interesting. So if you look at the springs, the coil spring, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ties, which is a typical 8-way tie coil spring. And if you count the rungs, so don't ask me why they do this, but you go anything over 5. If it's a 6 rung, it's a number 1. I don't know why they just call it a number 6, but so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a number 1 spring. It's the smallest spring that you can get in a small upholstered spring. And it's not a back spring. Back springs are thinner gauge springs. They're a lighter spring. But what's interesting is that yours, you had taken this apart at home. And why they had springs, it's kind of a contradiction, right? Coil springs are associated with crown seats, this way, right? A crown seat is this way. You have a saddle seat that goes this way. So the springs in this kind of fight the design of the chair, which is surprising. I have a feeling these were added at some point. Probably had a client, an upholsterer had a client that said, I need a softer seat. But it probably didn't look too good because after a while, what happens with that is it'll get wrinkled. It just translates into a wrinkled seat because it's contradicting itself. I don't know if that makes sense, but the design, a fine piece of furniture is the designs within the wood. So already you have a design of a saddle seat. So that means though that as a saddle seat, it has to be a firm seat, okay? And it has to profile to the front. It shouldn't have springs. Yeah, so I thought that would make an interesting segment. Yeah. So do you have any other questions before? You did have a question about can we update on the webbing and what you're doing right now with the?
No, I think I'm okay. You've explained to me that this should not be as taut as the other cross because it's meant to, you don't want this to arc over the other, you want it to rest.
Exactly. And you're doing a hand stretch rather than a webbing stretch, right? Okay, and you got the first one and you're going to do 4 of them and you're going to alternate the weave.
Right.
So that's great, thanks.
Is this okay before or should it be?
A little tight, if you can get a little tighter, but don't undo all the tacks.
Be a little tighter?
A little bit, watch this. If you want to take these out, don't undo the whole thing.
Don't undo?
Don't undo the whole thing, because you can stretch each section at a time. Look at this, stretch, pin tag. And now feel the difference between this and this.
Okay, yeah.
You see the difference?
Yeah, but
that's what I want.
Have to come out?
You could do them one at a time.
Oh, okay.
You could take one out at a time, pull it, reset it, right? Instead of starting all over again.
Just so you can see the variation.
Well, no, the reason is you've got some stretch there.
Yeah.
So if you take them all out, you're going to be doing it all over again.
So
you kind of know how much more. You know, you need to pull a little bit more. That's the beauty of pin tagging, you guys, is that you can go back and forth like that.
Okay.
Right.
But generally, it should not be a gap between.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. You're welcome. So we measured it, right?
Yeah, but we left the paper at home.
So you're remeasuring. Do you want me to check all your measurements after you're done?
7 + 3.
And I remember that you're going to be taking this down.
A little bit. I want another piece of.
Yeah, but have you thought about you're doing a pullover, and so as a pullover, it has to look like that. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Because if you just use this as the lip, if you just upholster over this, because it was a box seat, it's not going to work. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, that would make a good segment, because we'll talk about transition, why that's important